Okay, so I got a very interesting email a few days ago that I thought to share with everybody. Okay, it's from Dermot McNevin from Ireland, and he's been, in contact with the Abbey for several years. So he said, I enjoyed the winter retreat again this year. Being able to join in these activities makes me feel like a part of your community. He's never been here. I think I've benefited enormously from the communication with you and the others at the Abbey through the BBC and the weekly talks. Indeed, it's amazing to think that the internet can be used to impart spiritual guidance. How lucky I am to be alive at this time. I think of people from previous generations who simply had no exposure to the Dharma because of geographical reasons. Yeah. I'm coming to the end of my master's degree. As you may remember, I work as a psychotherapist, but I only do this part-time. My main breadwinning job is as a software designer for telecommunications company. They have paid me to do a master's in management of information systems strategy. If you understand what that is, very good. Which is a 3-year distance learning course. I'm in the middle of the dissertation now, which is due to be handed in June of this year. I wanted to somehow join my 2 jobs as psychotherapist and software designer, and have decided to do my dissertation on how information systems can be used to help stem the rise of suicide in Ireland. One of the agencies I work for as a therapist deals with people who have attempted suicide and also the families of those who have committed suicide. It is striking to me that we as people don't have any training for life. The Buddhist idea of thought training is so rational and evidence-based. It makes so much sense. However, for most people, they have no idea of how to keep their minds stable. And it's true, nobody teaches us how to live, do they? The idea of engaging in maintenance practices for our psychological, emotional well-being is still unheard of for most people. This is at odds with the area of physical health, where most people know that they should keep fit, exercise, and eat well, etc. For physical health, the idea of maintenance practices, in terms of physical health, the idea of maintenance practices, the idea is that it's better to stay healthy rather than get ill and then seek help. And that idea makes sense to people, isn't it? Prevention. And we learn that. Similarly, with road safety, knowing our proclivity to speed and knowing the dangers of speeding, we introduce speed limits on our roads and traffic lights. We produce safer cars that have airbags fitted. We ensure that people learn to use the rules of the road and have to pass a driving test before they can. This has reduced the number of road accidents dramatically. In Ireland, the suicide rate for 2009 was 527, far more than the 240 who died by road accident. Isn't that amazing? Our approach to psychological well-being is akin to us driving cars without seat belts. Isn't it? Nobody teaches us. We have no maintenance, nothing, no prevention. And when a terrible accident happens, we spend our energy on surgical treatment instead of taking a step back and fitting all cars with seat belts. This is what I'm looking at for my dissertation. I'm proposing an online system that will allow people to form compassionate communities in order to help each other stay well. My findings thus far are that for this to be successful, it will have to be a place where people want to come regularly, as opposed to only when they're in trouble. One of the problems I've come across as a therapist is that when people are depressed, they have low expectation of recovery. Therefore, they tend to seek help less, which further increases their problems. Likewise, when people are doing great, they tend to forget about their meditation practice and end up getting too attached to external objects. For me, it seems like the only system that could really be successful is one where people visit almost daily, where they're exposed to positive communication, where they are invited to help others, and thereby stay balanced. Okay? During the last few weeks, I've been thinking about how Sravasti Abbey actually does all these things. It's a caring community that encourages daily contact through BBC and uses information systems, the internet, to reach out to dispersed communities around the world. I will certainly reference Sravasti Abbey in this dissertation. While we're on this, I wonder if it would be possible to phone you or someone that you could nominate at the Abbey to speak about your experiences of community building on the internet. If this is possible, I'd like to include a transcript of the interview in the dissertation. Okay? So it really struck me from this that we're doing something that's having pretty broad effects that we aren't, you know, we knew we wanted to create community on the internet, but we're really seeing what an impact this is having. And especially for him, if this is acting as a model where he can set something up for like people who have, for just regular people, a place where they visit daily and they get good input on a daily basis and where they connect with others, how important that can be as a prevention program for psychological distress and for mental illness. Yeah? And the thought that we are in some ways setting an example for that or doing that in our own little way was really kind of amazing to me. So I had already spoken with Venerable Tarpa and Venerable Samten, because they're the chief people involved in the SAFE program, Sravasti Abbey Friends Education. And one of the objectives of that is to create a community. Yeah, and so they're going to talk with Dermot. And other people, you know, other ones of you may be also, you know, especially those involved with BBC and the other things. But I just thought it would be interesting to share this with you. And also, you know, where he says that you need like daily contact with, you know, people who uplift you, who give you the thoughts, who keep you going in the right direction. And that strikes me as very much the purpose of a Sangha community. Yeah, when you're on your own, you don't have that daily input. When you live together with other people and your whole day is structured around developing positive thoughts, then you have that input all throughout the day, you know. And we already see how much of our junk comes up even when we have that input throughout the day. So imagine what it's like when you don't have it, yeah. So I think that's something that's important. And then also how we not only receive this kind of encouragement from people in community, but we have the opportunity to give the encouragement. Okay, so it's not just looking at what do I get out of this, it's what do I contribute? Because the whole idea of contributing is, I think, something that makes us feel like a community, whether we're a residential community or if you create an online community, you know, where people really contribute, excuse me, and they have a feeling of, you know, I'm doing something to benefit the other people who are involved in my community. And that's something that's so important, you know, for us all to feel that we have something positive to offer. And that we are offering it.
His analogy about people having that health, maintenance with health and doing exercise and so forth is like commonly accepted, but that wasn't always true.
Yeah.
Like in our lifetime, that value has kind of come to recognition.
Right.
So, you know, to say that, okay, in a lifetime, then this too can come into
Yeah.
recognition. I think
Right.
it's good to think about that.
Yeah, yeah. That taking care of your health hasn't always been a big thing. I mean, when I grew up, it certainly wasn't. It was all about fat and, you know, I mean, yeah, hand lotion and, you know,
Copper tone.
yeah, copper tone and things like this.
Fit movement.
Yeah. Yeah, Jack LaLanne kind of started it.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's
that's
a
true.
big national movement.
Yeah.
Kennedy, not
Jack
Jack
Kennedy.
LaLanne, Jack Kennedy.
Jack Kennedy.
With his
President Kennedy.
Oh, President Kennedy did. Oh, I thought it was Jack. Oh,
The President's Fitness Program.
I see. Okay.
It's the Air Force Fitness Program and modeled it on that for all the schools, and everyone was encouraged to do 20 minutes a day.
Yeah. And how much that really changed. Yeah. And then you add yoga and you add health foods and you add things, and things have substantially changed in the US, you know. And then we need to do this also for mental health.